faith in our time of need. Amen. She looked frail. She was of average height, but she was very thin. She showed up here at the front doors of our church one evening during vacation Bible school, and she wanted some kind of help. She said to me, "Pastor, I've got AIDS." Furthermore, she said this, "My car is broken down, I have a flat tire, and I need $14 more to get that flat fixed." And she also told me, "Pastor, I'm hungry." Well, since we had leftovers from VBS supper that night, we gave her a plate of food and a cup of lemonade to drink. And yes, I bought her story, and I gave her those $14 to fix that flat tire. I knew that was kind of risky, but I thought, well, she really looks in need. Her car's broken down. She has AIDS, she says. And I helped her out. She wasn't one of us. She wasn't a member of this congregation. I had not seen her before. And she seemed so down and out that one evening when she came to our church during vacation Bible school. And later that evening, as she was out there, sitting on the grass, eating the food we gave her by our big church sign, she stopped another person who came onto our church property. She told that woman this, "Yes, the church gave me something to drink and something to eat, but the church gave me no money, and that was a lie. I just gave her $14. And then she said, "Can you give me a ride?" This woman, "Can you give me a ride down there to Amnicola Highway to the 9/11 Center?" The woman who was accosted, so to speak, didn't give her any money and did not give her a ride. Could she be believed or not? She wasn't one of us, and she was most likely panhandling here in the neighborhood, going from church to church to see what kind of goods or money she could receive. There was another woman we heard about this morning in today's gospel reading. And this woman, too, was an outsider. We hear about her in Matthew chapter 15. And she was not a Jew. She was not part of God's covenant community. She was a Canaanite. And as you remember, for years, the Canaanites and the Jews had been at odds, and they called each other dogs. There was this animosity from years back between those people who are the Jews and the Canaanites. This woman in today's gospel reading, this woman worshiped other gods, Canaanite gods. And she was also anxious. Why? Because her daughter was seriously ill. She said her daughter is tormented by a demon. And we know what happens at first in today's gospel reading. Jesus Christ and his disciples don't pay her any kind of attention. They didn't want to associate with her. There were just too many barriers there, cultural barriers, and different kinds of gods, and this age-old animosity between God's covenant people and those who were not God's first chosen people with the covenant. Have we ever met someone we just didn't like and didn't want to associate with? I remember when I was a child growing up, I rode a big yellow school bus to a Lutheran elementary school 5 days a week. Everyone on that school bus was accepted except for one student in our school, and her name was Joyce. And why wasn't Joyce accepted? Because Joyce, you see, lived on the other side of the tracks in town. She lived in the projects. Whenever we went on our street in the projects, there was trash on the side of the road. There were broken down cars. No one wanted to sit by Joyce on the bus. Now, we weren't rich, the rest of us. We lived in these old, row houses, 4-family flats in St. Louis. They were kept neat and tidy. But here was Joyce in the projects. Run down, trash, broken down cars. We didn't want to associate with her. And no one wanted to sit with her or by her on that school bus. Maybe there have been times in your lives when you met people you didn't want to associate with. And why? Maybe different values, different culture. You didn't see eye to eye with them at work or in the community. And in today's gospel reading, the disciples of Jesus Christ are so aggravated with this Canaanite woman who wouldn't stop shouting after Jesus. And those disciples urged Jesus, and they said to him, Jesus, send her away, for she keeps shouting after us. And isn't that really human nature? We meet someone who aggravates us. What do we want to do? Turn the other way, go the other way, send that person away. That person is different. That person is aggravating us. That person is not like us. If you go online today, you can find an art image online of Rembrandt, who in 1660 caught the decisive moment of today's gospel reading with Jesus and his disciples and that Canaanite woman. And in that sketch, that ink sketch that Rembrandt did many years ago, he caught that decisive moment in the gospel, and here it is. He sketches Jesus. His disciples are around him, but Jesus has his back to that Canaanite woman, and she's kneeling there, clinging to him. Yes, Jesus has his back to that woman, yet Rembrandt sketches this moment where Jesus is turning his head and trying to eye this Canaanite woman who is pleading after Jesus. And you see, that is the decisive moment in today's gospel reading. She shouts out to Jesus, Lord, have mercy on me.